Once in a generation, boxing produces a fighter who doesn't just win fights, he changes the game. A man who turns heads, stirs emotions, and forces even the most skeptical fans to pay attention. In the 1990s, that man was Prince Naseem Hamed. Born in Sheffield, England, to Yemeni parents, Naseem wasn't supposed to be a superstar. He was small, skinny, and came from humble beginnings. But what he lacked in size, he made up for with an almost supernatural confidence. As a child, his trainer Brendan Ingle saw something special in him, a kid who could punch hard, move like lightning, and believed in himself more than anyone else ever could. When Naseem turned professional at just 18, it didn't take long for the world to notice. From the very start, he stood out. His stance was unorthodox, hands down, chin out, dancing and taunting with the kind of swagger you usually only saw in heavyweight showmen. But it wasn't just for show. He had serious power, shocking one-punch knockout power that came from impossible angles. He knocked out 31 of his 36 opponents. That's an 86% KO rate in the featherweight division, practically unheard of. But it wasn't just what he did inside the ring. It was what he did before the first bell that made him a global icon. He'd enter the arena like a rock star, somersaulting into the ring, dancing through fireworks carried on a flying carpet, or even lowered from the ceiling. His ring walks became events in themselves. Fans loved him. Haters hated him. But no one ignored him. In 1995, he won his first world title, stopping Steve Robinson in Cardiff. From there, he dominated the featherweight division. He traveled to America, fighting in Madison Square Garden against the dangerous Kevin Kelly in what became one of the most chaotic, jaw-dropping fights of the decade. Both men went down multiple times, but it was Naseem who stood tall in the end, arms raised, grin wide. He was now a global star, making millions per fight, headlining pay-per-views and drawing crowds usually reserved for heavyweights. For a time, he was the face of boxing in the UK. Even legends like Mike Tyson praised him. He had speed, charisma, knockout power, and a gift for showmanship. But behind the bravado, cracks began to form. Naseem believed no one could beat him. He refused to train the way he used to. He clashed with longtime trainer Brendan Ingle, eventually parting ways. He surrounded himself with people who told him what he wanted to hear. He cut corners, trained less, and relied more and more on his natural talent. In 2001, he faced the slick, smart Mexican warrior Marco Antonio Barrera, a man who came in with a plan and no fear. What followed was shocking. Barrera neutralized Hamed completely. He didn't fall for the showboating, the taunts, or the mind games. He outboxed him, frustrated him, and beat him convincingly over 12 rounds. For the first time, the prince looked lost in the ring. That night, something broke. Naseem returned 1 year later for one final fight, a decision win against an unknown opponent. But the fire was gone. The magic, the confidence, the hunger, it had all vanished. At just 28 years old, in the absolute prime of his physical abilities, he walked away from the sport and never came back. No farewell tour, no comeback attempt, just silence. Time has passed, but the name Prince Naseem Hamed still echoes powerfully in the hearts of boxing fans. Today, he lives a life very different from the electric young man who once ruled the world's rings. He has 3 sons, and as expected, the public hasn't stopped asking, will they follow in their father's footsteps? With such an overwhelming legacy, the pressure is immense. And while Naseem has shielded his family from the public eye, the curiosity remains. His eldest son, Adam Hamed, has attracted the most attention. He's been seen training, attending major boxing events, sparking rumors that he might one day step into the ring. Could it be that the prince's son is ready to write his own story? But it's unclear whether he'll do it professionally. After all, Naseem walked away from boxing at an age when many are just beginning to build their legacy. And with that decision came a question. Would he encourage his children to follow a path that gave him everything, but also came at a cost? Far from the media noise, the Hamed family enjoys a life of luxury and privacy. Smart investments, financial discipline, and a brilliant career allow them to live in a comfort most can only dream of. While other champions seek the spotlight after retirement, Naseem has done the opposite, choosing silence, anonymity, family. His public appearances are rare, almost always reserved for meaningful moments, his Hall of Fame induction, or a special night in British boxing. But even when the prince shows up for just a few minutes, the air changes. People look at him as if time has stopped. Because his legacy isn't just in titles or his moves in the ring, it's in the emotion he stirred every time the bell rang. Today, his sons carry a last name that means something. It's not just Hamed. It's the name of a man who changed boxing history, a name that still shines even if the man behind it prefers to walk in the shadows. He's no longer the invincible, agile, fearless young man who defied gravity with every move. Now, he's a father, a businessman, a quiet symbol of success. But in some way, he's still winning. Not with knockouts, but with family moments. Not with championships, but with peace. And maybe that's his greatest victory. Because not every champion knows when to stop. Not every fighter knows when to trade the noise for silence. Naseem did. And that's why, even in retirement, even in silence, Prince Naseem Hamed remains legendary.